For the very funny Michael Lawrence!
So, I haven't had sex in over a year and a half, and people ask me how that's possible, and I say all you have to do is just be yourself. I live in a basement now, and ladies, let me tell you all about my windowless sex palace. This is what I have to do every night. I have to lift a metal grate with my two hands, walk down a staircase holding a lantern, and push cobwebs out of my face. So every night I go to bed, I feel like a Republican senator feeding his gay son. Before that, I lived in Queens, and I had two roommates. One of my roommates was a paranormal romance fiction novelist, and the other roommate was a feminist autobiographical cartoonist. And I did stand-up comedy, so if you want to know what my apartment was like, try to imagine the musical Rent if no one had enough charisma to get AIDS. It's really hard to get AIDS. You've got to have sex with someone who's had sex with other people. And that is a tangled web of likability. I was with one girl for 4.5 years. She was my high school and community college sweetheart. And it's all gone downhill since then. You know, some people do phone sex. I do instant messaging sex, which can be fun but frustrating because the girl will be like, do me harder, do me harder. And I'm just like, but I'm already typing in all caps. I don't drink a lot. I come from a long line of alcoholics. My family tree has a car wrapped around it. But sometimes I do hit on drunk girls, and I was trying to figure out when it's appropriate to hit on a drunk girl, and it's when she looks like this. You know, when she looks like a guy from Mortal Kombat, and he's about to get a fatality performed on him, and I'm just like, get over here. But I never get to finish her. I'm a child of divorce, and I really hate the way I found out about my parents' divorce. What happened was, my mom took me out for ice cream, and she sat me down. She said, Michael, I'm leaving your father. I'm going off to marry another man, and I'm pregnant. And I know that was really messed up, because that should have been 3 different trips to get ice cream. That took you 2 seconds to laugh at. It's taken me 20 years. I really hate the people my parents are with now. I especially hate my dad's Cuban fiancée, Maria, who I always refer to as my dad's Cuban fiancée, Maria. That way she's more of a concept, not an actual person, has no power over me. It works. But she did this recently. She told me that my dad was in the hospital via text message, and the actual text read, bad news, Dad's in the hosp. He's got an inf in his foot. They might have to amp it. She amputated the word amputate. No me gusta, Maria. Now I'm so terrified I'm going to get the death text any day now. Bad news. Dad fell asleep. Didn't wake up. Must have been his proskents. Text back to make fun arrangements. The thing is, I'm not afraid to die. I think it would be way worse to be immortal. Because, I mean, think about it. Every 50 or 60 years, your wife dies, and you've got to get a new one. And each one has more rights than the last one. Hey, honey, let's go out and vote. Damn it, woman, that used to be my alone time. Speaking of alone time, I'm a big comic book fan. And, has anyone here seen The Dark Knight? Anybody? Anybody see that? 100 times. I've seen that movie so many times, and I've been trying to figure out what Christian Bale's Batman voice sounds like to me, besides crap. And I finally got it. He sounds like a drag queen at the end of the night who just doesn't care anymore. Come on, Chantel, let's just go to this club a few blocks down the road. These high heels are killing me. Oh, I like a girl who's got a little fight in her. Then you'll love me. Guys, my favorite celebrity is Susan Boyle. For those of you who don't know, Susan Boyle is this woman, parentheses, question mark. And I won't say she's unattractive. I'll just say she looks like Robin Williams trying to get his kids back again. Which I can say because I look like Robin Williams trying to talk Matt Damon into believing in himself. Guys, I moved to New York 3.5 years ago, and when I got here, I saw the strangest thing. I saw this guy jump off the Empire State Building, and this cabbie looked right at me and said, "Only in New York. Only in New York." And it's like, where else would you hear that? Oh my God, that man's drowning in a salty lake. Only in Utah. And possibly Israel. I worked at McDonald's for 7 years. Because when you love life, life loves you back. And this happened once. This customer came in and he just goes, "I'm very offended by something I see in the lobby of this establishment." I was like, "What's wrong, sir?" And he's like, "There was a portrait of a vase by the late artist Robert Mapplethorpe, who was a chief proponent in the homoeroticism photography movement of the late 1980s. And I believe this McDonald's is thrusting gay sex onto its patrons." Which is a really faggy way to be homophobic. That was really his fault for going into a McDonald's and feeling something. He didn't complain about the only other piece of artwork in the McDonald's, which was a portrait of Grimace juggling McNugget putties while a jovial hamburger looks on. I want to believe the reason I was at that McDonald's for so long is because I was mean to some old gypsy woman in the drive-thru one morning. I was like, "Ma'am, it's 10:35, we're not selling egg McMuffins anymore." And she was like, "Oh, but I want one. They are so delicious." And I was like, "We're not selling them anymore." And then she was like, "From this day forth, you shall have the face of a rapist and the self-esteem of one of his victims." Guys, I'm Mike Lawrence. Good night.